I think many companies actually do emphasize on enablement by showcasing use cases that have been successful. For example, in sales, right? That will show you the difference here. Salespeople are highly enthused. They want to use it, of course. Hey, I want to make as many sales as possible. You're telling me this is something that will facilitate that for me. Give it to me. I want to use it, right? I want to do it. Again, it's a different set of personality we're talking about.
Welcome to another episode of Advising the Advisors. I'm your host, Bolu from Kenley, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Neha Mongia. Neha is a principal in the life sciences practice at Korn Ferry, and she spent the last decade as a strategist advising leadership teams across pharma, biotech, and the health tech industries. And these days, she spends a lot of time guiding senior leaders on how AI is reshaping drug discovery, precision medicine, remote care, and more. Thank you for joining me today, Neha. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
Amazing.
Pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's start with our Eli 5 question. Explain at a high level the kinds of problems you help clients solve at Korn Ferry.
I think as the industry was evolving and people, senior leaders, especially within the R&D functions, they were thinking about how can we, when they thought about innovation, it's like, how can we discover drugs in a novel way?
Because people couldn't gather, I guess. What caused the digitalization?
Because there were no face-to-face meetings happening, right? So everything had to happen via Zoom or Teams, all virtual meetings. And, you were talking to physicians on a virtual platform, and there was this whole fatigue and whatnot. So, and as we know, right, NHS was just quoted so many times in news, it was just so overwhelmed. And I always say it like NHS would do anything to keep the patient at home and, offer remote monitoring. Right, the patient doesn't necessarily need to visit the physician.
Right.
Whatever it is that can be done, should be done via, using some of the technologies that we have. So, and then it expanded to health tech. So it just got broader. So from classic pharma R&D to let's use individuals who have worked. Also, some of them worked in tech sector. Yeah, some of these people actually have joined the health tech space because of, some of the companies that have emerged. There's a lot that's happening via apps and so on. And I think it's not just because COVID took place, but I think what we understood through this pandemic was a lot can happen virtually, which also includes patient monitoring, which also includes detecting tests and not visiting the physician, where some of the things can be just uploaded on Teams or telehealth, such a big thing, right? So I think this is how it has evolved.
Nice.
Yeah, this is how my journey has evolved within that space well. Yeah.
But and then the backdrop is the industry itself.
The industry in itself is evolving.
Amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we've touched on many things that we're going to double tap on shortly. But very first, again, for a quick overview of the industry, maybe can you speak, and of course entering AI, how is AI impacting the different functions in life sciences? Maybe if you could just again double tap on all the different stages of the process from your point from research to the drug by the bedside. Yeah, and then following that, you speak as to the differential impact AI is having.
Yeah, I think R&D is probably the space, and within R&D is the discovery space, the research side, which has really used, or maybe it's the area where, the usage of AI has been most documented.
Okay.
AlphaFold technology, which was something which was backed by DeepMind, they even won Nobel Prize, right, in that space. So obviously it was widely publicized and, is very well documented in that sense. And I think they've done a fabulous job in terms of, decoding protein structure, which is some question that, so many scientists have been tackling. This is one aspect where AI has been
impact,
at least as of now and today, yes.
Yeah.
But then again, there is so much happening also in the space of development when it comes to designing clinical trials, when it comes to patient recruitment. I think there is so much nowadays that you can do with AI and machine learning because of the data that's available.
I have a quick question there. Are there any annoying, non-technical blockers to that working? Everything from integrating with the electronic health records? Are there some regulatory or even just industry things that are holding that back as to what it could be?
It's the data. It's the data. I mean, there is a very famous term which is used, the big data problem.
Okay.
We have data. There is a lot of data.
Okay.
What do we do with this?
Okay.
How do we use it? It's not standardized necessarily. It's not clean. You're going to a detective and they're supposed to solve a case and they need all these case files, but in one language, which is clean and standardized, which does not exist. Right? Because I think it's because we are still very much, early in the adoption stage. For example, FDA. They just integrated their chatbot is sorry.
What's FTA?
Oh, FTA is the regulatory agency, which actually goes through the documents and then they give
sorry, in what jurisdiction? The UK?
No, it's in the US.
Okay.
They give the approval in Europe. It's EMA, and in the UK it's HRA.
Okay.
So they're like different regulatory agencies.
Okay.
And they are responsible for, drug approval.
Okay.
So, for example, when COVID vaccine, when companies were working on it, and Pfizer and Moderna and the likes of that, they were working very closely with the agencies such as FDA that gave them the approval, and then they were launched. So before you actually launch, in the sense like before a drug is available on the market, it has to be approved by a regulatory agency. And FDA is the most well-renowned globally. And they have recently adopted AI-backed chatbot, which is, I think it's called Elsa, if I'm not mistaken. So it has a name. Yeah. It's supposed to help regulators, screen some of the documentation which is submitted to them by like pharma companies. It can save them time.
Well, that's actually quite positive, because like usually when we hear AI, we're thinking of the companies on the frontier, but the actual again, like the agency that are responsible for making sure again like this is safe and whatnot, like is positive to hear that they are. Is this a trend you're seeing across like all agencies across like all different regions, or are there some like specific like standouts like the FDA?
I think FDA is paving the way, because when it comes to AI and innovation, of course, US is on the forefront. At this point, we'll see what happens in future. But at least this point, right? Like this is where the majority of the innovation is coming from. So FTI is one of the, I'm sure there are also other regulatory agencies, but at least FTI case was the most recent one that has been, spoken about. So this robot is actually supposed to help you screen some of these documents, also challenge, for example, or where is this evidence coming from, right? So these sorts of activities. But it has been like a mixed sort of feedback, at least at this point, because some are questioning, like, is it really reliable? Of course, humans still need to be involved. You can't just give everything to a chatbot. But so from that perspective, I think it's it's not just the pharma industry, it's those different buckets of the pharma industry which has been, trying to making the most of some of this advancement. So that's like, that goes back to your question, right?
Like where different else, functions,
exactly. Where else? For example, so that would be an example of where AI is being used in regulatory affairs function.
Nice. Okay. Somewhere in the middle, like after the discoveries happened and some trials have happened, and now we're like the regulatory stage even. Okay, so this is like regulatory, and like what comes after that? As again, like where I could help is just like if you again jump over all the hurdles there or following the guardrails is commercialization next.
Medical science laws is usually on the ground. They actually visit, physicians, clinics. And what happened during COVID was it all shifted to like virtual platforms. And now with AI, some of these companies are also encouraging like, hey, before you actually speak with the doctor, there is a chatbot you can
practice with.
Practice.
Nice.
And some are actually excited about it. Hey, I want to see how do I sound like, and is there and it also gives you feedback. So you record the session. How it actually works is you record yourself. It goes for like business development, for sales, commercial. Same goes for like sales calls, right? You can record yourself, ask the same questions.
Like have you had like a live sales coach with you?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And same goes for like business development. Hey, we want to license in this asset or license out that asset. Tell me which company would be most interested in our asset.
Right. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So like again, all these are again like very interesting, exciting use cases, but it begs the obvious question as to okay, cool, what could be stopping these from being adopted? So let's go to the cultural question, which is what do you think are some cultural barriers that's slowing down the adoption of AI in pharma across all the different, broadly across the different like functions that you've mentioned?
I'll give you two examples, some very interesting examples. So going back to that medical science liaison example, right? So the person who's recording or supposed to record itself and they need to improve themselves are not using it. It's available. It's at their disposal, but they're not making the most of it because it's a hustle. Like, why? It's the mindset shift, right? We've always done our traditional way. Why the change now? Like, why should I even do this now? I have 10 years of experience. I have 20 years of experience already. I've spoken to so many physicians already.
Yeah.
Do I really need to do that? I don't want to do it. I don't have the time. I'm not interested. I have different priorities.
Okay.
Right? So there is this thing.
Okay.
But we all know when it comes to these sorts of hesitations, there is a psychological barriers behind that. It's not because you don't have time.
Okay.
It's because you don't want to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Right? Somewhere deep down. Yeah.
You don't realize the importance of it. Or maybe you're scared, and some of them are. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to document this because I know what's going to happen. You're going to use it for like other conversations. Another conversation, it might replace me.
Fair.
No, thank you.
Okay.
But obviously, they're like, nobody really says that.
Yeah.
But that's reading between the lines. That's
and how have you seen any organizations like navigate this positively? Like, is it enablement? Is it, what is the angle here to improve?
I think many companies actually do emphasize on enablement by showcasing, use cases that have been successful. For example, in sales, right? That will show you the difference here. Salespeople are highly enthused. They want to use it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They want to use it, of course.
So as a cohort, like they are, because again, the incentives are aligned. If I could just make more sales, it's clear. Okay. Getting better is equal to this.
I want to make as many sales as possible.
Indeed.
You're telling me this is something that will facilitate that for me. Give it to me.
Okay.
I want to use it.
Nice.
Right? I want to do it. Again, it's a different set of personality we're talking about. Salespeople are hungry, more enthused.
And the incentives are just aligned where, like, again, if it's compensation, but if the compensation is tied to
incentivized, But I think less than, of course, some are driven by numbers.
They're selected for that purpose,
just randomly. You know, I'm like, oh, you give me a call here, I want to have chat with you for half an hour. Oh, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
Do we need an agenda? No.
Yeah.
we'll see how it rolls.
Exactly right. And that's playing out in, again, like,
you can
their
critique
receptiveness of these tools.
Yes. But if you compare them with scientists, MDs, medically qualified doctors, who are in medical affairs, which is a combination of sales and you're leveraging your medical capabilities in terms of positioning your drug in a better way, which is a quote unquote, there is a sales element to it. Let's not be naive about it. There is a sales element. But then scientists they tend to be a little bit conservative.
Okay.
They want to be fully prepared.
Okay.
They want to know everything.
Okay.
Right? There is like it's a different personality group.
Okay.
So another trait of scientists, like, they question everything.
Okay.
Right? There is skepticism for everything.
Yeah. Which is like, a good trait every now and then. Yeah.
It gels very well with their personality.
Indeed, yeah.
Right? Scientists, for example, as I give the example of AlphaFold, in this case, the technology, which was backed by, which is very much supported by DeepMind. When this came out, I think there was a survey, like 30% of the biologists were discouraged. Because traditionally, what happens is they are manually predicting the protein structure.
Right. Yeah.
Manually.
Yeah. In wetware. Yeah.
How cool is that? You're actually crafting it, right?
Yeah.
And the thrill you get out of it, because it's a scientific puzzle.
Right.
You're solving. And some of these scientists are so hardworking. They actually work harder than, like, any investors or finance people or, sometimes even the CEO.
Yeah.
Because they're just so much dedicated to solving a problem, a puzzle. And it's not big, and they don't do it for money. They're not commercial people. They do it for the love of it. They do it because they're really interested in finding that solution that can help the patient. And some of them are, like, really interested in finding that, like, I want to predict this, I want to solve this. This is a puzzle and I want to solve it. Right? They're so mentally into it. Now you tell them, hey, there is a machine tool
that
can do it, which can take you a year, 2 years, who knows how long, whether you'll be able to fix it or not, who knows. And there's this AI tool, and they can, it can do it probably in months, weeks, days, right? Depending on what is it that we're talking about. So of course they're discouraged. Of course they're disheartened. You're taking the fun out of it. You have taken some even identify themselves. And if you ask this question, very interestingly, if you asked any of the AI platforms, say, hey, do you think scientists are disheartened by this, protein structure prediction that happened? They were like, do you think it has discouraged them? And I was like, no, maybe initially. They say yes and no, maybe initially, because, of course, we understand. And there is this thinking that, you've taken the fun out of it, and they were like fully enthused and into solving this puzzle, and now they don't have it. And now for some people, it can feel like, this is exactly the difference as if you are reading a book, like physical paper, versus reading something online. It's not the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then the same goes for this as well. So for some people, it can be just, I'm just doing the admin stuff because I am organizing data, and
Right. Like, I do feel as useful.
Science. Where is my science?
I hear that.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is this difference.
Interesting.
And then when you ask this question, so the answer from sources like Perplexity or ChatGPT might be like, oh, yes and no, and then it's like, well, is your opinion biased? And then it goes like, yes, let me double check. Yeah. I was like, you're right. Yeah. Because I'm talking more about adoption. But of course, at the end of the day, we are humans with emotions, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter how fact-driven you are. Even the thing that you are fact-driven is an emotional response to your existence, right?
Yeah.
So of course, it's going to have an impact. So depending upon that, your personality type, your mindset, how much support are you receiving from the top management?
Yeah.
Everything matters. Are my colleagues using it? And if they're using it, are they more successful than me today? Then of course, so I think one barrier is definitely this like mindset and fear
and personality
of being
differences
replaced, and
by cohort and by like function.
Exactly. And the environment, and how much support you receive from the top management, how much of that sort of behavior is uploaded. Enablement part, where I think organizations need to take accountability. And this is where Korn Ferry comes into play as well. Like we help with these sorts of enablements. And we call it like C3. It's about communication, culture, and change. Like, how do you make it happen? But I think most important thing here is, which I would definitely like to mention, whatever the function, AI should not be, perceived as a single function, or as a separate function, or as a tool that exists on its own right. No, it should be implemented in each function. And each leader responsible for that respective function needs to take accountability.
Yeah. Nice. So switching gears a bit to your personal use of AI as an advisor, let's do two. Like, what are favorite use cases you have today, and anything on your wish list for things you love AI to do to help you in the future?
Yeah, I think my cheat sheet when it comes to AI. I'll be honest, I think some of the emails sometimes that you received, and I'm not talking about serious client emails. Of course, this is where you give your full dedication, of course. Some of the emails, what I have done is that I receive an email and I feel like, like this is such a,
such a pain.
Or like this should not be asked. Like, this is common sense.
Yeah.
So I go to a platform and then just, can you just draft a response
to this thing?
I don't want to be bothered. I'm too tired. It's 10 p.m. in the night. I can't.
I mean, we all do it, but I mean, you're you're just saying the truth. Yeah, I hear
the
you.
Email for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is.
But actually, yes, like it's a joke. But like, serious question though. Like, how much context are you giving it? Do you just paste like the last response, or do you like have to paste the last previous? Like, if it's a correspondence that's going back and forth, do you have to copy the whole thing, or just copy the last message? Now, forward-looking wish list. What is something that is not quite today, but would be a delight to have, such as like saving you from writing?
Yeah, actually, I think, what? Adaptive learning AI, I guess probably this is something which maybe, I'm sure some consulting companies already have that, but I would like to see...
Adaptive learning?
Adaptive AI, adaptive learning AI. I think that's the term. So that, you can share the experiences, the learnings with everybody across the organization.
Some like knowledge sharing,
Yeah, like knowledge sharing,
Okay.
but in a most like in the fastest way possible, in the sense that I don't want to go through every single folder. Like there is a knowledge sharing folder. I don't want to go through every single folder and oh my gosh, and
So, like,
what was the proposal
Yeah.
and then what was your outcome? What did you propose? Blah 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 blah. I don't want to do that.
Interesting.
And what I want to do is, and I don't want to chat to 4 people who actually worked on 4 sorts of different proposals and gather their thinking either. What I would like to see is that if I put it in a chat board, like internally, then I will say, oh, this is my client. That's what their need is. This is their background. Tell me what previous work we have done with them.
Yeah.
Rather than me going to different platforms.
That's very interesting. So, like, so this leveraging prior work as a theme.
Yeah.
So are you saying even within that function that the business development and sales is where the value is, or do you see it? Could you craft a similar query that's helping you in the course of delivering the work after winning that event? Okay.
I think it's both.
It's both.
Because it helps you. It definitely helps you. Like, okay, take the example of business development.
Yeah.
I think it's also then more inclusive, right? You're including everybody and maybe that's also like a community kind of a feeling that can create. But anyway, that's just like going to the softer aspects.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. I like that. Okay, so like we're in closing territory here. And first question here, again, just two to close with. The first is, what's something that you think has changed and another that has stayed the same in consulting, since the introduction of like more AI in the world, if you will? Yeah.
I'm laughing because I think when this whole AI thing came, everybody was like, yeah, but nobody needs consultant anymore.
Yeah, that was the meme. Yeah.
That was the meme.
As being like, yeah.
No one needs consultants anymore. And they're super expensive. They don't do anything anyway. That's the common thing. But obviously I think anybody who works in that space knows that's not true.
Yeah.
So I think what has changed is
I think it's faster. I've heard actually differently. I've heard like now the turnaround time is faster, but I imagine in your space in life sciences maybe not the case. I've also heard clients are a bit more informed before they speak with you because again they've done a quick ChatGPT search or something. Again, not always with the best of knowledge, but at least they feel a bit more prepared in that first interaction. Are you seeing any of these? I know these resonating.
I think it has definitely become more competitive.
Interesting. Okay.
It definitely is more competitive today because, as you said, it's no longer the knowledge. I think now everybody has access to it. Now, if they make like how much of is it actually using and how much of are they actually using it correctly? I've also heard a case where the CEO who does not have experience in like R&D or medical affairs or market access because he's a commercial chap. He doesn't have experience in that space. And then, he's asking ChatGPT, or we are having problems with product launch. What are your...
Yeah.
What should we do?
Yeah.
And then he's, of course, ChatGPT is going to give you basic recommendations. And he's giving those to the, to his...
To the team, okay.
To his team. So let's take example of market access, just hypothetically speaking, right? That was not the function, but... And he's like, oh, have you done this? And have you done that? And I was like, yeah, that's basic. We have even done more than that, and then some people are offended because they think like, oh, you don't respect my work.
You just like
you don't respect my work. Yeah, you don't respect my work, and you don't trust us, and you trust ChatGPT more. Are you serious? Like I'm nobody's gonna ask the CEO like, are you serious? But this is what you're thinking, and this is what they're talking about the back, behind the back as well. So I think you be very cautious about what you read. Because you, even as a leader, can lose credibility. It's not about, hey, this is what ChatGPT told me, and I know now, and I can question you, and and no, it's like there is a reason.
I guess even like 4 years ago, like there was always a chance that perhaps like less scientifically informed executive might have read some article somewhere and sent it to everyone to like, this article says this is true. It's like there's always been like this tension, but I guess ChatGPT just makes it even easier. Like, just get a random take.
Easier and more frequent. Easier and more frequent, right?
Okay, so that's one thing that has changed is a bit of what to say the same, you think, in your interactions with clients. Again, like pre-post AI, what's still the same, what hasn't changed?
I think what still is the same and will remain the same, at least, for nobody knows the future. I think nobody can really nowadays. I think it's very difficult to predict what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years' time. But it's a trust factor.
Okay.
It's a relationship.
Okay.
That is very much the case. Like, as I said, like ChatGPT is, it can roughly give you maybe a draft of a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But it will not know the nuances and the problems and the pain points, which actually happens on the way.
Right.
And you can use it for sure. You can use it for risk mitigation. You can use it, you can ask questions in terms of, hey, this is what we're thinking of planning. Challenge me on this. How can it not work? Mm-hmm. But then again, do you see, like, it's the quality of the question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's all about data.
Yeah.
And it's about the quality of data. It's all about the quality of the question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so trust has stayed the same, as important before as it was in your client interactions, you said? Yeah.
For example, let's just say there are 2 consultants, okay? It happens very often in our world. 2 consultants, not much of a difference. This is where you differentiate, not just with machines, but also amongst humans,
of course.
right?
Yeah.
So it's the level of trust. How much of that are you able to generate and,
okay. So
present?
Trust as important as ever, perhaps even more.
Trust, relationship, even more, yes, because... But I think the good news here is I think the market is becoming more fair. It's not just about having some monopoly and
having someone
just I know these people and that people and having your network. I think what the clients really demand is everybody has knowledge now. Everybody has access to this. I want someone I can trust, right? Who's actually going to deliver what they say they would deliver.
Nice. And the closing one is any words of advice for younger consultants starting their careers in an AI first world today.
Yeah, use it as much as you can.
Okay, do not shy away from it.
Don't shy away from
the summary. Okay.
Do not shy away from it. I'm not saying stop learning. Be cautious.
Yeah.
Don't give your work to ChatGPT.
Okay.
But use it to be more efficient. Yeah.
Okay, that's a fantastic place to stop. This has been awesome. I appreciate you taking the time.
No, that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Sure thing.